Welcome back, you guys. As you can see, I still have that smile on my face because, I'm so proud of the team today, players' performances, and our manager Frank Lampard, because he put in yet another tactical masterclass against Jose Mourinho. He used a system and formation, introduced players into the team that a lot of us were holding a lot of doubts and reservations towards. Every single member of this club came through today where it really mattered the most. And in today's player ratings video, I'll be going through the players, giving my score from 1 to 10. And to let you guys know, I'm going to be starting with the attacking players, working my way down until we get to the goalkeeper. So if you do like today's video, if you're still happy about today's win, then smash that like button, help me get over 1,500 likes today. And of course, right after the player ratings video, if you have not seen the match review, which I have to say is probably my best match review this season, make sure you watch it later, you guys. But on that note, we get straight in with things, and we start with the striker today, Olivier Giroud. Now, for a player that's barely played this season, he puts in an unbelievable shift up front. Now, as we saw in the second half, Giroud was notably getting more tired. He was making sloppier passes, but the first half was where it really mattered. We just needed a big 45 minutes from the player, and boy did Giroud turn up. I mean, not only was his movement and link-up play with our cams excellent throughout, he provided that goal threat we've missed. A goal threat with quality. Now, of course, Michy Batshuayi's confidence has been affected. Tammy Abraham and his injuries, of course, has been affecting his game as well. So this was a massive opportunity for Giroud to show Frank Lampard what he's really about. And wow, he tested Lloris with some unbelievable shots. The goal he took as well, a great finish. And how many times have we seen that type of finish recently? It's rarely come. But what I liked the most from Giroud today was how he worked and fought for the team. Most notably was this from set pieces, where he was a colossal at the back, winning tons and tons of aerial balls from our half. And of course, in the final third as well, he was constantly using his strength and experience to help create the spaces and to help allow runners in behind him. Big performance today. For those reasons, Olivier Giroud is going to score an 8 out of 10. Now, we move on to our English cams today, starting with Ross Barkley. Now, I think it's safe to say that this was Barkley's best game this season, and when you compare his game against Valencia, a big decisive moment where he messed up the penalty, since then things have been very difficult for Ross, barely getting opportunities because he hasn't deserved them. Now today, Barkley puts in a brilliant performance. For the first moments of the game, I noticed his positioning. I was thinking, wow, the confidence, the intelligence, he's taking Spurs players out the game. And this is why we're seeing Giroud and Mason Mount looking so free with their movement. But on top of that, you guys, it wasn't just his positioning, it was his quality on the ball as well. We saw some of the old Ross Barkley today. Some of the audacious attempts from tight areas. He was testing the keeper, was looking to make things happen. He was playing positive passes as well. I wasn't seeing too much negativity in his game. And it really just sums up, if you use players in their best position, and with Barkley playing in the 10 role where he has creative freedom and space around him, that's how you get the best out of the player. So with Lampard seeing this, I wonder what other tactical surprises he might spring on us throughout the season. But for today, Ross Barkley scores an 8 out of 10. Now we move on to Mason Mount. As I was stressing in the match review, me personally, our man of the match today. And my God, there have been so many great individual performances throughout today. But for me, Mason just edges it over the competition by a tiny bit because of just how effective he was throughout the entire 90 minutes. Now, as I was mentioning with Barkley, when you use players in their best position, it's the same thing with Mount. Playing as a 10 with creative license and freedom to go where he wants, pick the passes he wants, take shots when he wants, get in behind when he wants. That is what Mason Mount is best at doing, and that's how you see him at his prime. Today, creatively, and I know his creativity has been a massive issue with a lot of the fans, but today, I think none of us can doubt that. He constantly had the run down that right-hand side. I felt sorry for Vertonghen in the end. He was getting outsprung every single time. Mason was a complete package with his dribbles from deep areas, overlapping runs, key passes, excellent pressing, and his defensive work rate for the team. It's the type of performance that you want to see from a player playing for us. Mason is a winner. He plays like a winner. He has a winner's mentality. And for today's player ratings, he is going to score an 8.5 out of 10. Now we move on to our midfield, starting with cover. And you know what? Cover is a big game player. Anytime we need him in games like this, he plays with his heart. He's brave, he calls for the ball in tight areas, and he uses his excellent skill and technique to constantly create spaces for us and constantly start counter-attacking moves. Now for me, I think that Cover is one of the best counter-pressing midfield players, because when he presses, most times he's winning his duels because he knows how to close his opponents down, he knows how to win the ball cleanly, and once he gets his body in front of an opponent, no one's getting the ball from him. You know, his low center of gravity, exceptional skill, quick-wittedness as well. And today, I was seeing the quality with his passes, constantly finding the options between the lines. Big midfield performance today. Cover is going to score a 7.5 out of 10. Now, we move on to Jorginho. And Jorginho is a bit of a funny player because, of course, that trademark pass of his, which is a trademark at this point, you know, the drop of the shoulder pass that he makes time and time again, it's his best pass by a million miles. I mean, it's his best technical pass. And I find it quite funny because to play that type of pass, you need to apply a lot of spin and a lot of weight and pace on the ball. And Jorginho's main criticism is that he plays too many flat passes. So why can't he apply that technique to the general passing of his game? Hopefully something wakes up today, because Jorginho has so many positive qualities. He really does. A great counter-pressing midfield player. He was constantly helping us play out from the back as well, kick-starting moves, and of course he covers so much distance. And when you see how many interceptions he wins and duels he wins, he's a great defender, just in different parts of the game. Today, Jorginho also showed creativity on the ball. For that reason, he is going to score a 7.5 because I thought Cover just edged it over Jorginho in today's game. Now, we get straight into the wing backs, starting with Marcos Alonso. He's a funny guy. He's a funny player. He's so weird because throughout this season, he's played exceptional games. And then the following game when he gets to win his place again, it's a completely awful performance. It doesn't make too much sense, but the only thing that is that when he does play in a wing-back system, it gets the best out of Marcos Alonso. Now, this makes a ton of sense. Of course, protection from the wide centre-back behind him, and of course, having options in front with the cameras playing in the half space. This allows Alonso to do what he's best at, which is attacking. Now, that's not attacking with carrying the ball, etc, etc. It's old school. It's movement in behind, getting in the box, and using his exceptional shooting technique, which was on full effect throughout the entire game. I mean, he has such a clean shot. The goal he took, what an incredible goal. That's a finish-up move off with a first-time effort outside the box. We've barely been seeing this type of quality throughout this season. It's great that Alonso was able to produce it today, but of course, it wasn't just how he affected the game in the final third, it was how he defended as well. Aerially, he was winning every single tackle. Of course, it helped him that Spurs didn't really attack him down his side at all, so he didn't have to worry about wingers running past him. But today, it was just an all-round complete game. Key passes, key tackles, key moments, good in both halves. Alonso is going to score an 8.25 out of 10. Now we move down to the right wing back in Reece James, and wow, this guy is a tank. I was feeling sorry for Ben Davies. How many times was Davies getting brushed to the floor, just getting knocked over? Whenever Reece wanted the ball, Reece was getting that damn ball. He was knocking people out the way like nothing, and it's how he just combines technical excellence with defensive excellence with attacking excellence. He is a complete player, and I can't wait to see him develop even more. I mean, today he won all of his duels. In the final third, he provided that threat with his dangerous crosses as well. He helped us play out from the back and beat Spurs' press, and of course he showed his confidence by carrying the ball out from dangerous situations and playing passes into our midfield. Reece was very professional and very solid today. He is going to score a 7 out of 10. And now we move on to the back three, starting with Azpilicueta. Now, this was a typical warrior-like performance from the player, and as I was mentioning on social media, the reason why Azpi keeps edging himself into the team out of other defensive players is because in key moments, in key situations, he always comes out on top. He made an incredible decisive block in the first half, and that's typical Aspie. I liked how Aspie helped support James down the right hand side as well, giving James that outlet to push forward when he had to. And of course, Aspie wasn't afraid to get forward in the final third and help overload those wide areas when he needed to. He led by example today. Azpilicueta is going to get a 7.5 out of 10. We move on to Rudiger, and he is going to score the lowest rating for today. Now, in that sense, nothing was happening down the left-hand side too much, so he wasn't called upon defensively as much. But for me, at times, I think that Rudiger is excellent technically. I think he's a very aggressive defender, but I think maybe at times he can be a bit too hasty. He's too quick to want to win the ball every single time, and in that sense, he's very similar to a David Luiz. The own goal was very unlucky, but if his focus was on closing down the angles to make it difficult for the shot, then who knows if he's going to score an own goal. And of course, it's the second own goal this season. At this level, these things don't happen by accident. And for that reason, Rudiger is going to score a 6 out of 10. We now move on to Andreas Kristensen, and he came back from Italy wearing that mask, joining Bain FC. I don't know what it is with players getting their nose smashed in playing for us. At this point, we can do a complete 11 aside based on players wearing masks playing for us. But, today Kristensen did not let that distract from his performance. It was cool. It was class. It was composed. And these are all things that we attribute with Andreas Kristensen. Today, I liked how positionally he was really stopping a lot of anything what Spurs could do. And this is what I love about Kristensen. He's one of those defenders where if you watch him, you understand defending a bit better, because he's always thinking where to be, how to close this angle down, how to prevent this pass, etc, etc. And he combines that with excellent technical passing out from the back and very good pace. But today's game, Kristensen is going to score a 7 out of 10. And moving on to the goalkeeper to end with the first team, that's Caballero. And I really like Caballero today. In particular, the only threat that Spurs really carried tended to come from set pieces. And we could see that Caballero was using his great acrobatic skills to good use. How many times did he tip headers over the crossbar? How many times was he calling out receiving the ball as well? He looked very good today, very acrobatic, very confident, and maybe on this form he deserved his place in the team. Today's game, Caballero is going to score a 7 out of 10. And on this point now, two more things to talk about. They are the subs and of course the final score for our manager. So we start with the substitutes, and I'm going to score them both together because they didn't play as much. They are both going to score a 6.5 out of 10. And for me, I liked how they came on and they maintained the intensity of the team. Now with Tammy Abraham, it was quite obvious that he wasn't going to risk himself and overexert himself too crazy, knowing that he wants to play against Bayern on Tuesday, because against Bayern Munich, we are going to need his pace and behind. He worked very hard for the team, and Willian in particular impressed me a lot as well. He came on and he was the perfect antidote to helping us play on the counter-attack. How many times does he use his pace, his great skill and his drive to, attack through the halfway line, carry the ball into the defensive third, and he has the strength, the composure and the ability to maintain the ball. He was a perfect outlet to help us waste time and beat Spurs' press. As I said, both players deserve their score of 6.5 out of 10. And on that point, we end things with Frank Lampard. Super Frank Lampard. Frank, Mourinho in his pocket, Lampard. Today it was another tactical masterclass. Now the irony being that Mourinho already knew the team. To be honest, I just don't think it's that impressive. For God's sake, yesterday I knew we were going to use a 3-4-3. It was obvious. So if I know that, you can bet anything that Mourinho's going to know that as well. But of course, it was all mind games. He was trying to maybe give off the vibe that maybe Willian had something to do with things, trying to give off the vibe that maybe players aren't fully behind Lampard. Mourinho's the type of guy that will do anything for the win. And it was quite funny that after the game, he doesn't even shake Lampard's hand. But it is what it is. And Lampard let his team do the talking on the pitch, because that's where it matters the most. He's a classy, intelligent guy that understands football, that knows how to get the best out of his team, that gives opportunities, that is fair. He's all the things that I've seen lacking in so many Chelsea managers. Today, he made us all proud. For those reasons, Lampard is going to score a 9 out of 10. And on that point, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up now and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. And of course, if you want more Blue Lines content, I have released my best match review of the season, so make sure you watch it after this, you guys. EFC. This is Blue Lines TV. See you guys in a bit.